Hey you guys, Netflix Guys here, and I'm going to go over the 6 movies that I got and talked about in my first video, give you my reviews on them. There were a couple that I actually couldn't get through, and this is one of them. Choke, which was written, this is based on the book Choke by Chuck Palahniuk. I read his other book that has a movie made from it, Fight Club. I had read the book before I saw the movie. Great movie, great book. In that instance, in this instance, not so much. I couldn't get through the novel Choke. I just wasn't interested in any of the characters. I thought I would be able to watch the movie, but surprisingly, I couldn't get through this movie either. This is the story of a man. He's a medical school dropout. He works in a colonial reenactment village. He's a sex addict. And he also makes his extra money by going into restaurants and pretending to choke. And then he looks for a patron who might have some money, lets that patron save his life, and then hits the person up for money until the person doesn't give him money anymore, and then he does the act all over again. So he had scams going all over town. He had to remember what restaurants he could eat in and which ones he couldn't. It was crazy. And it sounds like it would be really interesting. At least to me, I could not get into it. So I actually got through 20 minutes of that. Then that was it. I couldn't watch anymore. Now, this next movie is called Gnaw. And this was a story of a bunch of friends. They were on a road trip. So they decide to stop at this cottage. And the cottage, bed and breakfast, but it turns out it's owned by a family of cannibals. So like any other movie of this sort, there's the room where somebody stumbles into that's full of cell phones and wallets of all these people that have been killed. There were really low production values on this, and it was an hour and 30 minutes that I'm not going to get back. It wasn't even good in the so bad it's good kind of way. I really didn't enjoy this at all. It's from 2008, and it was kind of lame. Now, a surprising favorite from this bunch of movies was the zombie strippers movies. Now, this is from 2008, and it says unrated on here, but it's definitely rated R. There was nudity, and there was a lot of gory violence, as well as swearing. But it was hilarious, and it was entertaining. I was entertained from beginning to end. It's in the far-flung future, like 2012, or that's not far-flung, what are we talking about? Like, in the future. Public nudity has been outlawed. So if you're running a strip club, it's the equivalent of running a speakeasy, in the 20s. So there was this strip club run by Freddy Krueger. I can't think of his name now. Robert Englund. And at the same time, there are all these wars going on in the world. And we're running out of soldiers. So the government comes up with this serum, basically a virus, that will reanimate the dead so they could use the soldiers over again. But what has happened, though, is that the virus affects men different than women. Women remain lucid and, can actually be reasoned with and talked to, whereas men just turn into zombies. What happens is the facility that has been testing this virus, somebody is bitten and escapes. They get into the strip club and they bite one of the strippers. Well, turned into a zombie makes her this amazing stripper, and so all the men are like giving money. So Robert Englund, who owns the strip club, is happy. So what they do is more and more strippers become zombies, and more men are coming and paying to see this. So they're making all this money. Unfortunately, though, every night, each girl that's a zombie needs to kill and eat one of the customers, who then, of course, becomes a zombie. They're locking all these guys in the basement of the strip club, and eventually there's like 30 guys down there, and the cage can't hold them anymore, and chaos ensues. There's also a strike team involved with this that kills zombies, and it sounds crazy, but it was actually entertaining. The story held together from beginning to end. I was really surprised. So check that out. The Zombie Strippers. Put it in your Netflix queue. I think you'll enjoy it. Now, another movie I could not get through at all is called Hardware. This is starring Dylan McDermott, and it's from 1990, and it looks like it's from 1990. It was the story of this he's like not a junk collector, but he was wandering the desert, Dylan McDermott. He found the head of this robot. So he gives the robot head to his girlfriend. She puts it in a sculpture, but it turns out it was this robot that had been discontinued from manufacturing because it was really unpredictable. And the other pieces on the sculpture that she has were actually parts from this robot that they have like gathered together all this time, and it putting the head on makes the robot come to life and put itself back together. I didn't even get that far. That's just from the description that I read. I was done with this after like 15 minutes. I couldn't take anymore. The acting and the production values, just I was done. So, my last movie is The Goods, Live Hard, Sell Hard, which starred Jeremy Piven. I wanted to like this movie. I love Jeremy Piven. My favorite movie of his is PCU, and that's kind of what this reminded me of. In that movie, well, you can Google it and see, but he was, the fast talking, wisecracking, arrogant know it all, that he has come to personify in most of his roles, much like Ari, of course, on Entourage. In this movie, he was that guy, but as that guy, he was the car salesman that you called in when you couldn't move any cars, because he was going to sell your cars for you. So him and his kind of hit squad, which included Ving Rhames, they had come to town to help out this guy whose car dealership wasn't moving any cars. And just their stay in the town and what happens is what the movie is about. But it was just so crazy. It was so all over the place. That wasn't even my problem with it. It was just so bizarre in the sense that it wasn't very funny. It just reminded me of a movie. It seemed like him, Will Ferrell had a cameo, Gina Gershon had a cameo. It was written by the guys who wrote Talladega Nights and another, I can't think of another one of Will Ferrell's movies, which I guess is why he was in it as a cameo. But it just looked like it looked like the kind of movie where they decided they were bored and they decided to come up with this crazy story and make a movie about it. And I just get the sense that they were laughing more at what they were doing when they were writing it and maybe in the read through than anybody who saw this was doing. It was really bad. It had, I would say, about 4 funny parts. But for an hour and 30-minute long movie, that is nowhere near enough funny parts. This was rated R. There was a lot of swearing and sexual references, so it's definitely not for kids. But it was bad. It was really bad. So those are the 6 movies. Those are the last 6 movies I got. So I've got to pack those back up and send them back. And we'll see what shows up next. I haven't added a bunch of stuff to my queue in a while, so I have to go in there and check, rearrange it, and see what I want to come next. And I'll show you when that stuff shows up, and then I'll do a review on that as well. So thanks for watching. Have any comments, leave them below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Last movie I'm going to talk about, I didn't include in the last few reviews I did because I didn't have it here in front of me to remind me. My sister borrowed it. It's Sunshine Cleaning. That was starring Amy Adams, and it was a story of a woman. She was just having a rough time. She's a single mom. She's having an affair with her high school sweetheart who is now married. He's also a cop. And her son was having these problems at school. She wants to put him in a private school, but, she doesn't have the money for that. So he suggests to her that she start a cleaning business to clean crime scenes. At the time, she was working as a maid for a cleaning service. So, he suggests this, it's just a different type of cleaning. At first, she was insulted because she was like, is this all you think I can do is clean up? But he was like, no, I think, you can make a lot of money at this. So she decides to look into it more, and then she decides to do it. This movie also covers her relationship with her sister, who is kind of a loser, for lack of a better term. She had just gotten fired from her job. So she tells her, why don't you help me with this? You're not doing anything else now. So they both decide to work at this cleaning business. So the movie covers her relationship with her sister, her relationship with her dad. It was really interesting. I was surprised I liked it as much as I did. I didn't expect to. It's the kind of story where it's just you get to see this person's life. And their life's not perfect and it's not pretty. It's just what it is, which I think is a lot of people's lives in general. Nothing fantastic or amazing is happening to them. They are just trying to make it from one day to the next. And that's what this story was. It had a couple of surprises and a couple of really nice moments. It wasn't some feel-good, though, movie. but it was good. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I do recommend it. So that's Sunshine Cleaning. And thanks for watching again. I'll talk to you guys later.